Hello and welcome everyone to another 5-minute quick trade breakdown. We're going to be breaking down FUTU from this morning. So we're going to go through the tape and then we will break down expectations of a trade and a market maker. So just looking at the chart, obviously it's high volume day. We're trading, way over volume average. We're currently at 14 million, average is about 4. So we know that our range is going to be extended, statistically speaking, over average. And it was. We ended up pushing above 44 here. We ended up getting a few ask at 44 with a burst of 4. And then we came up to 44.50 on the ask. We ended up getting a burst of about 6. Print personality is about 2. And what print personality is how this stock trades on our prints on average. And you can see print personality here is probably 2. 3 would be pushing in the boundary of print personality. So we know 44.50 is above print personality, indicating that the market makers looking to build on that position, in which they don't build on that position because it is above print personality. That's our rules. When the prints are above print personality, we're looking for the market maker to build to therefore make money on their position. And in this case, we get 45 ask above print personality. It's one of the largest bursts we have seen thus far. And what that tells us is that that's a longer term market maker, and their intentions before they make money on that position is to furthermore build and bring it down. However, we ended up getting no real reaction above or below in terms of off level shorter term buying from other shorter term market makers. End up getting a push to about 46.50 in this, or 47. Yeah, 47 before we end up triggering down. So that tells us build, tells us they're looking to bring the stock back under 45. We continue to get pushed. There was really no shorter term buying or selling up until this point, until this 46.30 burst. So that was the first sign that someone was scaling out of their position or going short, one of the two. It was the first sign that the possibility of that down movement is going to come for the building to happen. And we got about an increment or 2 away from that 45 above print personality. So this was the first sign for a short position. And this happened within the consolidation above 46 there. We ended up breaking out of that little consolidation to 47. And we didn't get anything at 47. So 47 was fairly weak. So, I mean, just thinking about it from this perspective. So they've showed the market makers that they have the ability to acquire at major levels and psychological levels. They acquired at 44, 44.50, 45. And then above 45, they don't acquire. What's the psychology behind that? Why wouldn't a market maker, if he's already shown that he wants to build a large position from 45 and they already showed they can, why wouldn't they print more at 45.50, 46, 46.50, 47? Why wouldn't they just print more ask at those major levels? And it's because this market maker has the intentions to pull it back under to get shares at a lower price. He doesn't have the interest in acquiring at a higher price. Therefore, his game plan of bringing it back down under 45 statistically makes more sense. So we see the lack of buying is one variable, and then we see that one selling burst is the transition to show that someone is taking profit or either looking to go short, and that's definitely it's definitely a market maker that's shorter term there at 46.30s. It's not too large where it's longer term personality. Nothing at 46, 47 trigger down. Ended up taking that trigger down there back off 47 back to 46. Ended up playing games. We didn't end up getting any selling, however, though, to short that. There was going to be a continuation of the move back down to 45 and under 45. Because in a stock like this with a range, you would see individuals coming in or other market makers in the shorter term time frame of things, maybe 3 or 4 burst of bids to show that they're shorting back to 45 or 44 because they know where the stock is going. If the stock's going to move $2-3, there's going to be a market maker that makes money on it. There's obviously the 45s are a longer term time frame type of market maker, but there's going to be supporting market makers shorter term that are going to make money to the downside or upside. And we didn't see that on that trigger back down. Consolidated around 46, ended up scaling out of that position due to the lack of new buying there. We ended up getting a push to 47 again this time, and these prints were above the ask, and end up seeing them get hit, so couldn't use those as proper information, but was looking above. 47.50 is another psychological level to keep in mind, and we know we did not satisfy the building that the 45 market maker told us that they were looking to build. and then the substance, some nice selling there, but the substance just above this 47 was not there. No ask at 47.50, no ask at 48, and that really shows us the psychology of they're not wanting to acquire higher price from the market maker. And then we ended up triggering down, ended up taking that trigger off of 48 there, 47.50 psych level, hard to hold, and we know 45 is not properly built. And then we ended up coming back down to this 46 region, and this is where that selling that we wanted initially ended up coming back in. So we ended up seeing some market makers go short above 46 there, and then we got some bids at 46 and a few above. So that's the type of selling that we wanted to see to break that 46 level, because it already showed previously to be a support. We never got that selling there to show that they were going to make money back under 45, and this time we did, and hence the reason that we broke through 46 so cleanly, because those are jackhammer prints, and this ended up being a clean trade back to 45 for that market maker to build. And this is our number one short trade. It's kind of the psychology of the market makers' intentions, and all we do is follow. We are followers. We're nothing less. We're not chart traders. We're not nothing. We follow what the market makers are doing, what they tell us. 45 was a dominant. He was a longer term market maker. He says, he told us from the amount he printed that those were long term, and he needed to build on that position, and under 45 makes sense. However, in this case, this stock ended up pushing above 45 with lack of controlling buying or off-level ballsy buying from other market makers to show this is going to be an exception and just continue to run to 50. We didn't get that situation, that scenario where, okay, these are ballsy prints and they're buying as much as they can because they know this is running to 50. We didn't get that. We really saw a lack of buying above 45 at the levels, and that really shows the psychology of that market maker. I can't repeat this enough, that if they already showed that they want to acquire at 45 and looking to build, and if they're not acquiring higher, that really only leaves the case that eventually they're just going to bring it back under to get it at a lower price. They don't want it at a higher price because they know they're going to build. So essentially what they're doing is they're just enticing retail above 45, using the short-term price action above 45, making it look pretty like it's going to break out to 50. They're just enticing retail, and then they hammer it on them, they bring it back, and they take their shares. So really everything that was done above 45 was to entice retail rather than for a market maker to make money on that position to the upside. I hope that thought process and perspective does help you guys. There's a big key in understanding the 1 through 4 setups and tape reading, and it's all about market makers and the psychology of market makers. Because this setup could have been an exception, but the variables to show this was an exception weren't there. What would an exception look like? Odds are we would have buying at every single level, and odds are there'd be some great strong reactions above and below those levels to show we're going to 50. We didn't get that in this case. So all we really needed to do was wait for the high percentage short trade, and 47.50 being a psychological level was very high percentage, and then we did it furthermore getting that selling coming in. 45 is where that dominant market maker is right now, which is why it makes sense why it's consolidating around this region, but we have had some selling above and below to show continuation under, and realistically for that market maker at 45 to truly build on their position, it makes sense to bring it at least to 44. So I hope you all enjoy this video, and looking forward to doing more of these.